bring it back together. So, today, as you might remember, I'm getting filmed. A lot of fun. We're going to spend a few minutes going over some logistical stuff for the next few weeks. After that, we're going to review the stuff from last week, objects and politics, and some of the key takeaway points in that. And then we'll get into discussions of the global warming science doubt stuff in the last half hour or so. So, to start, tomorrow, no class. Jake just sent out a B-Space announcement. Rally on Sproul at noon tomorrow. It's a big walkout for November 8th. So,
no class tomorrow?
Yes. This class will not be meeting tomorrow.
I love that class.
I don't know about your other classes. Next week, in section, we will not be doing one of the reading things. You should still try to keep up in your readings, but we're going to be reviewing some of the global warming and doubt readings, and also workshopping for most of section your projects. So, for those of you who I've spoken with, I've sort of suggested doing as much research as you can between now and then, bringing what you're working with, bringing any questions you have about how you want to lay things out, maybe what arguments you're sort of working through, what you want to include and not include, and you can work with your peers, bounce ideas off of them, and also talk to me. So that's next week, so make it a busy weekend. After that, Thanksgiving week, we're not having section. Again, more time for project work. You can come meet with me, Lila, Jake, to talk through any issues you're having as you're developing your stuff. Because again, by Thanksgiving, we want to sort of be at the rough draft stage of your project. Yeah?
Just clarification, like, what is Lila's office hours? Or,
By
like, what's
appointment.
her email?
By appointment. Oh, you don't have her email?
I don't think so.
It's, I thought we sent it out, but it's Lila dot, we're out of room, Stein, at Berkeley.
All one word?
Got it? Lila.rubenstein at berkeley.edu. So yeah, you can email her. She doesn't have like an office or office hours, but she'll schedule time to meet with people as necessary. I'm also meeting with people that I've talked with immediately after section today to go over projects if we haven't already. So I know there's a couple of you here. Okay. And then after Thanksgiving, right, we're going to have to combine the war and nature and the nuclear natures project presentation groups on the same day. So we'll talk between now and then about figuring out what we're going to do with that. But keep that in mind because you're now in a different group, right? Yeah?
Are we going to do a review?
Yes. I don't know when we're going to schedule that, but we will do one. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so speaking of review, last week, objects and politics. Let's do a little bit of review of some of the takeaway points from the readings and lecture. So, someone remind me the Langdon Winner piece, Do Artifacts Have Politics? What is the point? Why did we read this? Grant.
Talk about technology changes how humans interact with each other, it changes our culture and our society, even if we're not meant to. Like the actual technology isn't made in order to change our society, if that's an effective technology.
Okay. Okay, so there's something about sort of technology and society. Anyone want to add to that? Is that a thing? Yeah.
Also, that physical things carry with them very influential ideas that because it's not a person saying this idea, we don't associate it as being a real interest person.
Good, good. Right, so we're getting at some of the stuff we talked about in lecture as well, sort of the overarching argument we want to get across about objects having some kind of politics, either a sort of direct or a reflective sort of form of that politics, right? And then this idea of distancing that comes about and the depoliticization, where we don't normally think about objects as having politics, right? Thinking about the automobile in the advertisement we watch. Yeah.
That kind of talks about how objects, the technology in itself has politics, and before we make it, it has intended politics. So it kind of like
and that way we can talk about like the nature of culture, or like nature of the object versus like what is culturally embedded in the object and how that played out.
Okay, good. So give me an example from the reading.
Okay, like the freeways that they're reading with the overpasses that like I mean okay, so the intention of the freeway passes was for them to make it so that only cars could drive on the road, but then trouble thinking of how it is.
Someone want to help her out? What was the overpass case? Yeah.
Well, he like made the like bridges so that buses couldn't pass through them, so that like minority groups couldn't access like local like landmarks like parks or like public space. So
Right.
it's kind of like a racially charged thing.
And then in itself, like is already up, like the car is kind of politicized, and that only some people can pay for it, like have the money for it.
Right. So we'll get to the car stuff in a bit because that's important too. But yeah, so Moses, right, was the designer, the architect, I believe, designs these overpasses, and the idea is because of sort of the pre-existing sort of issues about access and sort of who uses what modes of transportation, right? Sort of the richer, whiter folks were taking private automobiles. The poorer people of color were largely using the public buses, but the buses couldn't fit under the overpasses, so there's this sort of politics of exclusion inherent in the object of the overpass, right? That's the idea. Let's go back to the nature culture thing, though. So what were the sort of positions that Winter presents? Did we do this on the board? Sort of nature, culture, both diagramming? Did we do this in this section? No? We should have. Okay, so what... Wait, was that a hand? No. Okay, what was Engel's argument from the Winter piece? Anyone remember? Someone besides Grant? Sorry. Yeah.
That you need the order, the hierarchy of order.
Okay, yeah. So there's what do we remember the phrase he uses? No, actually, I think that's so Engels' argument against the anarchists who say we can get rid of authority just by sort of getting rid of the state or the economic system. And Engels says, no, there's a certain authority in the way the factory runs, a sort of power or authority of the steam machine itself, right? That determines, to a degree, the way you organize production. And some people extend that argument to say it also determines how you organize society. So what do we call that?